Your tomatoes are not dying because you forgot to water them. They are dying because they are addicts. Not metaphorically, physiologically. The plant in your garden right now, the one you bought as a seedling from the nursery, or grew from a packet of commercial seed, was bred inside a climate-controlled greenhouse at 75 degrees, 80% humidity, with automated misting every 4 hours. From the moment that seed cracked open, it never experienced a single second of stress. It never had to search for water. It never had to push a root deeper than 6 inches. It never had to survive. And now it is in your yard, in real soil, under a real sun, and it is dying because it does not know how to live without life support. That is not your fault. That is by design, truly by design. The global commercial seed market is worth over $65 billion. The irrigation equipment industry adds another $8 billion. Fertilizer, $193 billion. Soil amendments, $5 billion. Pesticides required because weak plants attract more pests, another $85 billion. Added up, that is over $350 billion a year in industries that only exist because the plants they sell you cannot survive on their own. A seed that grows without water, fertilizer, or protection is not a product. It is a threat, because a self-sufficient plant does not generate a supply chain, it generates independence. So the industry made sure your seeds would never be self-sufficient, not through conspiracy, through breeding. Decade after decade, selecting for traits that perform under perfect artificial conditions and collapse without them. The result is a plant that is optimized for a greenhouse and helpless in a garden. You are not a bad gardener. You are a good nurse. And the industry made sure you would need to be. Welcome to the invincible method. Today, I am going to show you how to break the addiction. Not with more technology, more products, or more labor, but by doing the most counterintuitive thing a gardener can do: nothing. Before the seed catalog existed, every plant on Earth was a survivor. For 400 million years, land plants evolved under one rule: find your own water or die. There was no misting system, no drip line, no human standing over them with a watering can. They survived droughts that lasted decades. They colonized deserts, cliff faces, and volcanic rock. They pushed roots 30, 50, sometimes over 200 feet deep to reach underground aquifers. The wild ancestor of the tomato in your garden, Solanum pimpinellifolium, still grows wild on the coastal deserts of Peru and Ecuador, in regions that receive less than 2 inches of rainfall per year. 2 inches. Your garden hose delivers that much in 15 minutes. That plant does not just survive drought, it was built by drought. Its root system can extend over 8 feet deep. Its leaves produce a waxy cuticle that reduces transpiration by up to 60%. Its stomata close during peak heat and reopen at night. Every cell in that plant is an adaptation to water scarcity. Now compare that to the commercial hybrid on your patio. The commercial tomato was selected for size, color, uniformity, and speed to harvest. It was never selected for root depth, drought tolerance, or independence. Those traits were bred out, not intentionally, but inevitably. In genetics, there is a principle: use it or lose it. Genes that are not activated across multiple generations do not disappear, they go dormant. They are still there. The code for deep roots, for waxy leaf coatings, for efficient water metabolism, all of it still written in the DNA, but it is switched off, silent, sleeping. This is called epigenetic silencing, and it is the key to everything. Dr. Carlos Bellari at the University of Buenos Aires published research in the journal Trends in Plant Science, demonstrating that environmental stress, specifically drought, UV exposure, and temperature fluctuation, can reactivate dormant gene expression in a single generation. Not over centuries, not over decades. In one season, the plant does not need to evolve new traits. It needs to remember old ones. But here is where the modern system blocks this entirely. When you water a plant daily, you are telling its genome, there is no drought, do not activate drought response. When you fertilize the surface, you are telling its roots, there is no reason to go deeper. Everything you need is right here. When you shelter it from heat and wind, you are telling its leaves, do not bother producing protective compounds. Every act of care is a signal to stay weak. You are not helping the plant, you are disabling it. The Chinampa farmers understood this intuitively. Masanobu Fukuoka wrote about it explicitly. Indigenous seed keepers across the Americas, Africa, and Central Asia practiced it for millennia. Planting in harsh conditions, letting the weak die, saving seeds only from the survivors. They were not being cruel, they were breeding resilience. And it worked for 10,000 years. Let us be precise about the mechanism, because this is not folklore. This is peer-reviewed biology. When a plant's root tips detect declining soil moisture, they trigger a hormonal cascade centered on abscisic acid, ABA. This hormone does 3 things simultaneously. First, it signals the stomata on the leaves to close partially, reducing water loss through transpiration. Second, it redirects carbohydrate allocation away from shoot growth and toward root elongation. Third, and this is the critical part, it activates stress-responsive gene networks that were previously silenced. A 2018 study at the University of California, Davis, led by Dr. Andrew McElroan, measured root depth in grapevines under 3 irrigation regimes: fully irrigated, deficit irrigated, and zero irrigation after establishment. The zero irrigation vines produced root systems that penetrated 40 to 60% deeper than the fully irrigated controls, and accessed soil water reserves that the irrigated vines never reached. The unwatered plants did not just survive, they outperformed. Because they found water the irrigated plants were never forced to look for. But the root depth is only the first adaptation. Dr. Roberto Tuberosa at the University of Bologna published a comprehensive review in the journal Annual Review of Plant Biology, showing that drought-stressed plants undergo measurable changes in at least 14 distinct physiological systems, including leaf thickness, cuticle wax production, osmotic adjustment capability, and antioxidant production. These are not mutations, these are activations. The genes were always present. Drought turned them on. These activated traits are heritable, not through changes to the DNA sequence itself, but through epigenetic markers, chemical tags on the genome that tell the next generation which genes to keep active. A 2014 study published in Nature Plants by researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Plant Breeding Research confirmed that stress-induced epigenetic modifications in Arabidopsis persisted for at least 3 successive generations, even when those subsequent generations were grown under non-stressful conditions. The drought memory passed from parent to offspring. This means that when you subject a plant to drought, and that plant survives and produces seed, the seed it produces is already pre-adapted. The next generation germinates with drought response genes active from the start. It does not need to learn to survive drought. It was born remembering. Save the seed from the survivor. Plant it next season. That generation will be harder. Save those seeds again. Plant a third year. By the third generation, you are growing a locally adapted, drought-resistant crop that was tailor-made by natural selection for your specific soil, your specific climate, and your specific conditions. No laboratory, no seed catalog, no purchase required. You just built a cultivar for free. Now you understand the biology, so ask the question: if a 3-year seed saving cycle can produce drought-proof, locally adapted crops at zero cost, why does every seed company in the world sell you the opposite? The answer is the most elegant suppression in modern agriculture. It does not require a ban, it does not require censorship, it only requires one design choice: hybrids. The majority of commercial vegetable seeds sold in North America are F1 hybrids, first-generation crosses between 2 genetically distinct parent lines. F1 hybrids display a phenomenon called heterosis, or hybrid vigor. They grow fast, they produce large, uniform fruit, they look perfect on the shelf. But F1 hybrids do not breed true. If you save the seed from an F1 tomato and plant it next year, the offspring will be genetically unstable, splitting into random recombinations of the parent traits. Some will revert to a wild type, some will produce no fruit at all. The uniformity disappears. This means you cannot save F1 seed and get the same result. You must buy new seed every single year. That is not a flaw. That is the business model. The global seed industry generates $65 billion in annual revenue. That revenue depends entirely on farmers and gardeners returning to buy seed every season. A seed you save and replant is a sale that never happens. A seed that improves itself over generations, through the exact epigenetic process I just described, is a permanent exit from the customer base. The industry does not sell you weak seeds because it hates you. It sells you weak seeds because strong seeds cannot be resold. Now layer the dependencies. An F1 hybrid bred in a greenhouse cannot tolerate drought, so you buy irrigation. It cannot access deep nutrients, so you buy fertilizer. It cannot resist local pests because it was bred 1,000 miles from your garden, so you buy pesticide. Its shallow roots make it vulnerable to wind, so you buy stakes and cages. Every weakness is a revenue stream. In the United States, it is legal to save seeds from open-pollinated varieties and replant them, but try to find open-pollinated seed at your local garden center. The shelf space is dominated by hybrids, because hybrids guarantee repeat customers. Open-pollinated varieties are pushed to specialty catalogs, heritage seed libraries, and online exchanges that most gardeners never encounter. The seeds that can set you free are legal but invisible. The seeds that keep you dependent are in every store, at eye level, in bright packaging. What does not generate recurring revenue is not stocked. Here is the protocol. It will feel wrong. Do it anyway. Step 1. Source open-pollinated seed, not hybrids. The packet must say open-pollinated, heirloom, or OP. These are varieties whose offspring breed true. Every seed you save will produce a plant genetically faithful to its parent. This is the only purchase you will ever make. Step 2. Plant directly into the ground. No starter pots, no greenhouse trays, no indoor grow lights, no hardening off. The seed goes into field soil on the day you decide to plant. If you want to give one concession, water the planting area once, a single deep soak to trigger germination. After that, the hose does not come back. Step 3. Walk away. Do not water, do not fertilize, do not shade, do not intervene. Within 2 weeks, most of your seedlings will wilt. Some will yellow, some will die outright. This is supposed to happen. You are not failing, you are selecting. The plants that die were expressing the greenhouse genome: shallow roots, high water demand, no stress response. They were doomed from germination because their epigenetic programming told them help was coming. It was not. The plants that survive, and there will be survivors, there always are, made a different decision at the cellular level. They activated the ancient code. They pushed roots downward into deeper moisture. They thickened their leaves. They closed their stomata earlier. They redirected every calorie of energy away from looking pretty and towards staying alive. Those survivors are your foundation stock. Step 4. Let the survivors go to seed. Do not harvest the fruit for eating, not this first generation. Let every surviving plant complete its full reproductive cycle: flowers, fruit, seed. When the fruit dries on the vine or the seed heads turn brown, collect them. Dry the seeds thoroughly. Label them. Store them. Those seeds contain the activated epigenetic profile of a plant that survived your specific conditions: your soil, your sun exposure, your rainfall pattern, your microclimate. No seed company on Earth sells that, because no seed company on Earth can replicate it. Step 5. Plant the survivors' seeds next season. Do the same thing. One soak to germinate, then nothing. The second generation will have a dramatically higher survival rate because the drought response genes are already active from the start. More survivors means more seed. More seed means more selection pressure. More selection means harder plants. By year 3, you are growing a crop that is functionally drought-proof, tuned to your land, adapted to your conditions, and entirely free. You will never buy seed again. You will never drag a hose again. You will never open a bag of fertilizer again. You did not engineer this. You remembered it. Every seed on Earth already knew how to do this. The industry just made sure it forgot. You have a choice. You can keep nursing addicted plants through another season, watering on schedule, fertilizing on schedule, replacing every one that dies with another purchase from the same supply chain that made it weak in the first place. You can keep treating your garden like an emergency room, stabilizing patients that were designed never to be healthy. Or you can be ruthless. Plant open-pollinated seed, water once, walk away, let the weak die, save the seeds of the survivors, and repeat. Within 3 seasons, you will have something that no garden center sells and no seed company can manufacture. A crop that was bred by your land, for your land, using genetics that are 400 million years older than the agriculture industry. Nature does not coddle, it selects. And what it selects, it perfects. The strongest plants on this planet were not grown in greenhouses. They were grown in droughts, in floods, in freezes, in neglect. They were not kept alive. They chose to live. And the seeds they left behind carry that memory forward, generation after generation, free of charge. The knowledge survives. What you do with it is yours. If this changed how you think about seeds, subscribe to the Invincible Method and hit the bell. Share this with the gardener in your life who is still handcuffed to a hose. Every like pushes this past the algorithm that keeps you buying. The next method drops soon, and it makes even the soil work for free.